All rise. Judge Vanderbeek Court is now in session. Judge, this is the case of the Kennedys.
Thank you. You all may be seated. Okay, Mr. Kennedy, you brought this case before the court.
Yes, ma'am.
What's going on?
So I'm sharing custody with our 12-year-old daughter now, and I'm just wanting a little more help with finances because as she's getting older, expenses are getting a little higher, and sports, dances, going out hanging with girls, and yeah, I just want a little more help on my end. I'm paying insurance already. And
okay. How much are you paying in insurance?
$130.
All right. And what is your daughter's name?
Autumn.
Autumn. Oh, what a beautiful name.
Thank you.
Autumn. Okay. So what type of expenses does she have that are increasing?
Yeah, so she's doing volleyball right now, and we're thinking that she's going to be doing that in high school as well.
Okay.
So just, athletic wear and then traveling, going to places. I want to go and support her and as well as her, but I'm the one having to drive and take her if I don't want her to ride the bus because I don't feel her safe doing that.
Okay, is this a school bus or?
Yeah, it's a school bus.
With her teammates?
With her teammates, yes.
And you don't feel that she should ride with her teammates?
If it's really far away, maybe like an hour or more, I'll drive her, but if it's 30 minutes or less, I'll usually let her typically go.
Okay. That's understandable. Okay. Is there anything else you want me to know before I move over to her?
She's just a growing girl, and girls are expensive, as they say, so.
I mean, we are. We have a lot of stuff that we need, so yeah. Ma'am, is there anything you want to add or subtract from what he said?
Yes.
Buckle up, guys. Today we're diving into a courtroom clash that proves co-parenting isn't always 50-50ths when it comes to dollars and cents. From the jump, Mr. Kennedy lays down his case. Shared custody isn't cheap, especially when raising a preteen athlete. Between volleyball gear, travel, and avoiding those unsafe school bus trips, he's doing the heavy lifting and just wants a bit more help. It's not about greed. It's about growing needs. The judge listens closely, and you can feel the tension as he paints a picture of rising costs and parental dedication.
Your Honor, I do feel that he's trying to take advantage of my new relationship.
Okay, tell me about this new relationship.
Well, I can't really help who I have fallen in love with. So my new husband is a fantastic provider. However, I do get an allowance, and it isn't as much as you would think coming from, well, my husband's a CEO of an energy company, so you would expect a huge allowance, but obviously he has to protect all of his hard-earned income.
What type of allowance do you receive?
About $500 a week.
$500 a week, okay. All right.
So, which really isn't that big a deal. I mean, obviously.
That big a deal in terms of the amount of money, or you paying child support for the child living with him and having increased expense?
Well, I don't think it's that big a deal to Mr. Kennedy because he has a pretty healthy income himself.
But you do understand his income does not have anything to do with an increase in what you should be paying in child support, right?
Yes, I understand that, but what I don't think has been considered yet is the fact that I set aside furthering my education, though I wanted to pursue that, so that he could go get his MIS degree and then a master's in something. So I'm not sure that it's fair. I would like to consider all the money that wasn't spent on me that should have been spent on me while we were married.
Okay, yeah, no, that's not how this works. And sir.
All right, guys, here's where it gets juicy. The mother enters the chat and flips the script. Instead of tackling the rising child expenses, she pivots hard, accusing her ex of targeting her new marriage. And not just any marriage. She's now married to a CEO, getting a $500 weekly allowance. But instead of acknowledging her responsibility, She tries to sidestep support by claiming past sacrifices and entitlement from the old relationship. The judge isn't buying it, and the audience can feel that courtroom temperature rising quick. It's a bold move, but also a revealing one.
She says she gets a $500 a week allowance from her husband, and who is a CEO of an energy company. Briefly, how much money does your husband make?
I'm really not sure.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
It's a lot.
It's a lot?
I think so.
When you say a lot, is it like in the 200,000s, 300,000s?
Well, the car that he drives was about 200,000.
Oh.
So I'm thinking you'd probably have to
You
make
only
more
get a
than that.
$500 a week. You know what? That's not my business. That's not the reason I'm here. I'm not going to even entertain that.
That's what I was thinking too.
I'll just move on. Sir, do you know how much money her husband makes a year?
I don't, but he's the Steve Jobs of the town of energy, so to say.
So let me ask you this. Are you expecting her child support to be based on his Steve Jobs?
No,
job?
his success has nothing to do with me or my daughter or our
Okay.
daughter. And like I said, I just want a little more help because she is
Okay.
getting older. And, if she's happily married with whoever and how big his wallet is, that is totally up to her.
Okay, well, I'm glad that's not what you were doing because you can't do that anyway. But what we can do, ma'am, is make you pay more in child support because at this point you've been paying zero. Because from what I see, you're a stay-at-home mom, which is absolutely okay. But you do understand that your child has increased expenses, correct?
Yes, I do see that.
Okay,
but
so after yes, I do see that, that means that I don't need any further response. So you understand that, right?
well, how much are we talking about?
We're gonna base it off that $500 a week allowance that you make.
Okay.
So, based on that, I have your gross at $2,000 a month.
Now this part right here. It's where logic smacks entitlement in the face. Despite her attempts to downplay the financial weight, the judge breaks it down with surgical precision. Her CEO husband's wealth, irrelevant. The court deals in facts, not lifestyle assumptions. With her $2,000 monthly gross from that allowance, the judge calculates a $266 child support tab, plus $130 to reimburse dad's insurance payments. Boom, $396 total. The courtroom might as well have had a scoreboard because that was a clean win for
After you take out the calculations for the taxes, your net comes out to $1,662.53, okay? That would give you a child support obligation of $266. However, you also heard him say that he pays $130, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
In medical insurance for the child. You're gonna have to reimburse that to him. So, in addition to the $266 a month for child support, you add the $130, your child support obligation monthly comes out to $396.
Can I say something?
Sure, but make it brief.
Okay, well, I don't know if he's still subscribing to the same psychic,
Okay.
but she charges, I think it's $412 a month.
Okay.
And-
What does this psychic have to do with these numbers?
Well, because I just feel like if he can afford the psychic, then maybe he can afford the insurance. And I guess I feel that that is money that could have gone towards my education while we were married.
Okay, well, I've already said no to that. That has nothing to do with me. I mean, you should address that in your divorce, obviously. And whatever he pays, if he chooses to do that, that has nothing to do with your responsibility, your financial responsibility to your daughter. So if there's nothing further from either of you, you all are dismissed.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Rise and walk out.
Hi guys, we've now reached the educational portion of our show. I just wanted to go over what you all just watched in the case of the Kennedy. So the parties, they were married previously, no longer together, they're divorced, right? Mom is now remarried to a CEO of an energy company. Dad is looking for her to pay an increase from zero amount of child support to something more that he is able to financially support the children. Not only can she be able to pay child support, that answer is yes, but I also want you to pay attention to the spouse in this case. So under Texas law, whenever there is a change in material or substantial circumstance, the courts are able to increase child support. So even if you were not necessarily in a court ordered to pay an amount of child support, that can be increased if there's testimony to show that you actually do have some more money. Well, in this particular case, the spouse made a lot of money. Well, unfortunately, under Texas law, a spouse's income is not calculated in terms of child support for what the other person has to pay. You only can pay child support. The person only has to pay child support based on the amount of money that they were receiving. So her child support amount was based on the allowance that she was receiving from her husband, and that's what determined her child support obligation.
Just when you thought it was over, she throws in a wild twist, claiming Dad's psychic bill should count against his credibility. But Judge Vonda B. shuts it all the way down. Personal choices don't erase legal duties. The educational recap drives it home. Child support isn't about who you marry or what your partner earns. It's about your own income. Texas law is clear. Spousal wealth doesn't count, but your allowance sure does. This wasn't just a verdict, it was a lesson. A reminder that parental obligations can't be dodged with flashy lifestyles or old wounds.